I'm going for witch's herbal garden. So I want everything to be very practical for me. And if it isn't practical, I need it to be edible. And if it isn't edible, then I need it to smell really, really nice. So essentially, everything in my garden is going to have some kind of purpose because I know I want rosemary and I want lavender, more lavender, I want chamomile, I want different varieties of different plants, like plants that I have never worked with before.
I'm so excited.
Since I last filmed, the English weather did what English weather does best, and it essentially rained for day after day after day. The weather dropped from being the low 20s to being the low teens. It's now no warmer than it was back in February and March, and honestly, I'm starting to think we're not going to have an actual summer. The last time I filmed might genuinely be the warmest weather we've had all year, and it might stay that way. So we've had to persevere by building things whilst it's been raining and going out in between rainstorms and showers in order to build the arbor, because I did end up getting it. I ended up collecting the arbor a few days later, and it was dismantled when we got it, so we had to squish it all into the back of the car. I'm shocked it even fitted in the car, and then we had to essentially reverse Tetris it out of the car again into my back garden, where it sat there for over a week because it wouldn't stop raining. Eventually, though, we did persevere and get the arbor all set up, and it looks incredible. We did, however, do a few tweaks to the original plan. So in the last episode, you'll have seen this illustration, and the plan was to have the arbor at the very far end of the garden, looking down the length of it, because my garden is very narrow and very long. However, we quickly realized that getting the concrete and getting the flags that we would need to put the arbor at the end of the garden seemed like such a waste of time when we already had a perfectly flat, flagged area already. And so while we were setting up the arbor, we just kind of put it down and we realized it looked really good where it was. So the plan for the garden has completely changed. The arbor is now sitting to one side of the middle of the garden, and then we've really started to work around it. So to the left, right, not sure, one of the sides, my lefts and rights are not very good. On one side of the arbor, we now have the planter, and this planter is going to have all of my herbs growing in it, and it's going to help not only protect and shelter one side of the arbor from prying eyes, and also just to make it look a lot nicer. Because all of the plants that are going to go in this raised bed are actually fragrant cooking herbs, I'm hoping it's going to really help bring some nice fragrance to the side of the arbor as well. And then I finally potted up all of my herbs. So I mostly got herbs that I really wanted to work with in kitchen magic as well as just in cooking. And so I ended up getting sweet basil, rosemary, chives, chamomile. I'm forgetting what the other ones were now. Thyme, I believe, and sage. That's it. So I got a collection that I could use in cooking. And so I finally got those all planted up on like the 10 minutes of sunshine that I managed to find. One thing I will say though is the basil I did split, because the problem you have when you purchase basil plants is it's not actually one plant. It's like 16 plants that have all been crammed into one pot, and that's why if you were to buy basil from the supermarket, it'll usually die in like a week or two, and it's just because the pot is so overcrowded. So instead of putting the entirety of this basil in, I actually split it into a smaller section, planted that. The other section of that plant I'm going to split even more, maybe into 2, perhaps even 3, and they are going to go into separate pots because basil is incredibly finicky, and so this is hopefully going to give me the best odds of having at least one plant survive. Maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. Honestly, I'm not sure. The rain is not doing it any favors. And then we've also planted up a few additional plants in pots that are also highly fragranced. They're going to be able to sit on the flags around the arbor as well. I actually forgot to mention it when I did the previous video clips, but I have 2 of these. These are called salvias, I think, and this one's hot lips, and it's already got flowers on it. Pretty! And they smell really, really strong, like really beautiful. It's like a super sweet smell. It's really good. And the bees are already liking the lavender. Cute! Oh, it does smell nice. Oh, I could get addicted to these, you know. Ooh. And I lost the footage of me putting them in, but I have these super duper cute herb labels. I think I got them from the Spooky Box Club like 10 years ago, and they are adorable. And now I finally have a herb garden to put them in. And also my lavender is doing really well, despite being really, really damp right now. After we set up the raised bed, I realized that I actually wanted to get a second one, so I am going to go back and get a secondary one to go on the other side of the arbor to kind of balance it out. And also, I like growing herbs, and I think this is a really nice way of doing it. Plus, bonus, the first night that the herbs were in the back garden, they got ravaged by slugs, absolutely decimated. The moment I put them inside that raised bed, the slugs just disappeared. So I think the raised planter is the way to go. So having sat in the garden for a few days and just had a little bit of a thought, I decided I really wanted some roses. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for roses. I am a walking, talking cliche. I love red roses. I'm an absolute sucker for them. And so when we had a look around, there were so many different options. In the end, I think I've settled on 3 different colors of roses. I think we're going to go for a red. The one that I've seen is a really vibrant one called Love Knot, and I thought of like knot magic, and I thought that would be really cool. It also smells amazing. Another one is a really, really famous rose, and I've immediately forgotten the name of it. The name always reminded me of Jekyll and Hyde, so if I can remember it, I'll put the name on the screen so that you can see what it is. This one is a vibrant pink rose with such strong fragrance, because as far as I'm concerned, if a rose don't smell, then it ain't a real rose. And I know that that's not the technical way of doing it, but to me, a rose has to smell like a rose. And then the other one I wanted to go for is an orange rose, because I really enjoy orange roses. I think they're just beautiful. Now, I haven't actually bought them yet because I need to get the fence panels first. However, while I was there in the garden centre, I might have stumbled across a beautiful lilac rose. Now, I have never seen a rose this colour before. It was completely unexpected. It's called Blue Diamond because it's only sold in Blue Diamond garden centres. And honestly, I'm struggling to describe the colour. It is not white, but it's also not purple. It's almost like this strange silvered lilac color. It's like a little bit blue, a little bit purple, a little bit silver, a little bit white. It is so cool, and it smells amazing. And while we were in there, I also spotted a pot that reminded me of opalite. And so I ended up getting the pair of them, and now I have a freestanding rose in my garden that I was not intending to purchase, but I do not regret it for one moment. It is amazing. So the weather kind of didn't get any better. It is the middle of summer and it is raining. Again.
I get the feeling that this is how 2024 is going to go. And of course, it happens to be the year that I've decided to build a garden. But I guess that's kind of par for the course. So I'm currently wearing not one, but two different jackets. This is my winter coat. Why am I wearing it now? And I'm trying as much as I can to enjoy the outside space. The only bonus I have is that while it's raining like this, it means I don't have to water any of the plants, which is great with me because I don't have any kind of outside tap or hose or anything. So I'm having to like ferry water in from my kitchen sink in watering cans, which is not, it's not an ideal situation. So yeah, maybe it's not the end of the world that it's raining. I'm saying that to try and make myself feel better because I hate the fact that it's raining. It's cold as well. It's not even like it's warm and it's raining. It's cold and it's raining. But the bonus of wet weather, for me at least, is that a lot of the plants that would normally be perhaps struggling are doing really, really well. And the plants that I need to grow really quickly are growing really quickly. So my honeysuckle is going absolutely bonkers right now. I know many of you gave me a little bit of a heads up of how fast honeysuckle can grow. I am aware, luckily, and I do need it to grow pretty quick. So I'm going to keep an eye on it just to make sure it doesn't start going places it's not meant to be going. But the rose that I got that's in the beautiful like opal pot is going absolutely bananas right now. At first I was a bit worried about it, but now it's got loads and loads of buds on it. If I can, I'll try and show you as best as I can in the rain at least. And a lot of the herbs that I've got are actually doing pretty okay. I was expecting some of them to have died off, but no, they're doing really, really well. If anything, the only things that aren't doing super great are the more delicate plants. So some of the salvias are looking very sad and forlorn, and that's probably because the rain is just battering them. For instance, today I woke up and it was raining, and it has rained all day. This never ending, like heavy drizzle all day. And then it got really heavy. Now it's kind of eased off a little, which is why I'm feeling kind of okay putting my phone outside. But it's just battering everything. We just don't seem to be able to catch a break. So fingers crossed, we get a little bit of good weather. Like a little, because I want to sit outside and not be wearing an outside coat. Like, that would be nice. Please, please. But we do have loads and loads of new buds coming out on my rose bushes. This is actually the purple rose, like the purpley lilac rose. And I'm noticing that as time goes on, the flowers are getting more and more pink, which is interesting. I'm wondering if when they come out, they're going to go more of that purpley tone again, or whether they're going to stay being pretty pink. But we have loads of buds up here. I'm making sure to deadhead really regularly to try to keep as many flowers coming as possible.
Throughout all of this, though, you'll remember that in the last episode, I purchased strawberry plants. And while all of this has been going on, I have not planted said strawberry plants. They have just been sitting there. And so I figured it was about time I did something with them before I just lost them forever to the slugs. So we did catch a little bit of sunshine to be able to pot up the strawberries, and now they are hanging very proudly on my wall, and I'm very, very happy with them. And bonus, it has rained so much I've not had to water them yet. Whether that's actually a good thing or not, I'm not sure, but it's less work for me. Now, I filmed the entire process of us potting up the strawberries. I will be honest, I've watched it all back and it is very long and very tedious. It mostly consisted of figuring out where we were going to put the strawberries, which varieties were going to go in which hole within the pot. And all of that was for naught because I don't remember where any of the strawberries ended up going. I know I told you that I would let you know which strawberries had a better yield, but I actually just don't remember where any of them went. And since I filmed this video clip, which was probably at the very start of June, we've actually had a lot of strawberries, and none of the plants seem to be producing more than any of the others. But back in time to when I potted all of these up, we essentially had to block off some of the holes in the pot because if you remember from the last video, I only bought 8 strawberry plants, but I had 12 holes in the planter. So we blocked off 4 of the holes so that the other 8 could have more of a chance of getting some sunshine because they were going to be in a hanging basket against the wall. So once that was sorted out, we essentially just filled the pot and added the strawberries, and I'm really glad I got this done when I did because this really was the last sunny day for about a week, and then the strawberries would have been sitting just in their tiny pots for even longer and they were already struggling. So I'm a bad plant parent, I will admit. I'm not particularly good at gardening, but I'm determined to make this work, and the strawberries I got off them are really, really nice.